everyone. We're bringing you a live news roundup. President Trump is actually right now doing an announcement about a drug price agreement in the White House. So let's go over to the White House. Let's just check out what's going on live in the White House right now. Then we'll move on to the other news updates. But I'm gonna send you over to the White House right now. Let's look at the live feed. Hold on, I gotta put the audio on. I don't think I have the audio on. Let's put the audio on.
He saw something 20 years ago. He learned that we were paying 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 times for the same drug as they were paying in European countries. Some of these drugs were manufactured in facilities in New Jersey and then sold for 1/10 the price in Great Britain and London or Paris that Americans were being charged for them here. He saw that this was unfair. Every Democratic president, every Republican president has said that this was the gold standard. This is what we needed to do. Nobody's been able to change it. And when we came in, I have to say I was pessimistic about doing MFN. Dr. Oz was pessimistic. Our staff, John Brook and Chris Klump and the other people we brought in were all pessimistic. The president saw something that we didn't see, which is we had leverage. And that came through Howard and the tariffs, and we had extraordinary leverage to craft these deals. So last week we had Pfizer in, which is one of the biggest American pharmaceutical companies. Today we have AstraZeneca in with Pascal Sorios, which is one of the biggest European pharmaceutical companies. And the president asked us to do 3 things. 1, to get MFN prices. 2, to not bankrupt these companies. He understood that America has to be the center for innovation. The drug industry needs to innovate, that it's critical for its bottom line, it's critical for the health of the American people. And he asked us also to make sure that those companies would keep their promise to reshore this industry. For national security purposes, for our economy, it's critical. These companies are making these drugs in the United States. We were able to achieve all those things, and partially with the visionary help of Pascal, where is he? Of Pascal Sorios, who understood that innovation and the business doesn't work if everybody is not pulling the oars, if everybody doesn't have the skin in the game. The whole world was riding on our shoulders and riding on our dime. 70% of pharmaceutical revenues comes from this country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population, and we were paying for 80 or 90% of the innovation here, and the rest of the world was a free rider. And Pascal understood that that's not fair, and it's not a good, sustainable, long-term business model. And he came to the table. He was one of the first leaders to come to the table. I want to thank him for his vision, for operating with us in good faith. And this is an extraordinary deal. Not only that, but as the president just pointed out, he is also reshoring this industry here. He has 19 facilities already operating in this country. He has this other facility in Albemarle County that Dr. Oz went with Governor Youngkin and broke ground on yesterday. He has a second facility that is under construction in Kendall Square in Boston, another facility in Rockville, Maryland, and a 4th facility in Copper, Texas, right outside of Dallas-Fort Worth. And he's got plans for building many more in this country, thanks to the president's leadership, to the tariffs, and to the common sense the president has demonstrated in his own commitment to make drug prices lower for hardworking Americans. So I want to thank the president for your visionary leadership. I want to thank Dr. Oz for his part, and Marty McCary in negotiating this deal. Dr. Heidi Overton, Theo Merkel, Chris Klump, and John Brooks, who all played critical parts in the negotiation. And of course, Howard Lutnick, who was the key to these negotiations. Who do we bring up now? Dr. Oz.
Thanks, Secretary. He'll take your place, Pascal.
Oh, Pascal, I get to introduce Pascal, which I'll do with great joy and honor. So the world is watching as President Trump tries to make peace in every place he can go. But at the same time, President Trump is putting peace into the hearts of Americans and bringing peace of mind to them, especially Americans who cannot afford their medications. And just to put a number on this, as he releases us from the bondage of paying three times more.
I'm just going to interrupt this for a second. So we'll go back to this. This is a live announcement at the White House of an agreement with the drug company AstraZeneca, which just it's going on right now. We'll go back to this. I do want to give you an update about another story, which I just saw from Flight Radar 24. So there is a ground stop at the main airport in Atlanta. Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, which is the main international airport in Atlanta. And what you can see here is it says due to fire. Departures to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International, which either used to be or perhaps still is the busiest airport in the U.S., departures are grounded due to fire. Possibly of extension is medium. And what I believe there might have been an earlier alert saying there was a smell of gas. That's what Flight Radar 24 said. Yeah, right here. See this right here? Look at this. Impacting condition comments strong gas smell. TWR evacuating. So, again, there is... So Flight Radar 24 says that right now there are, we showed you that departures were being paused. Departures are on hold and arrivals are holding or diverting away from Atlanta due to the smell of gas. I'll actually show you on the Flight Radar what it looks like over there. So when President Trump speaks again, he might take questions at this event. Maybe he'll talk about his new tariffs, which we'll also talk about, his new tariff. What is going on here? Oh, I got to do one thing real quick. Hang on. What I'm going to do, let me go back. Let me just put on the screen the Trump thing one more for a second. I have to do something real quick. I'm going to put Trump on for a second here. Or I guess Dr. Oz is speaking. And I'll come back and show you the Flight Radar. Or hold on a moment. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see. I'm going to put the volume on. Do this. All right, hold on one second.
When you go to the website, you'll be able to see a marketplace. We're not selling the drugs. We're just making information available to everyone so you go to the right place to buy the right medication. Second, drugs for lung diseases are discounted massively, and that's over here on this line. The president highlighted 650%. They're significant discounts, and these are medications. We just picked the ones for lung disease and one for metabolic syndrome, diabetes, but there are others that are included. We have most favored nation pricing for everyone who is on Medicaid in this country. That's why Governor Youngkin is able to do backflips with his nimble 6'6" physique. Because for governors, this is a massive problem. If Medicaid prices continue going up, it crowds out other social services, which he'll speak to. We also have MFN for all new prescription drugs. Mr. President, by the time this term is done, 95% of all drugs sold in America, branded drugs and generic, will be available at most favored nation drug pricing. Americans are going to benefit if the prices drop abroad. So Secretary Lookner is going to make sure that if we get better prices for these companies from our partner countries overseas, the American people see those benefits, and there's going to be onshoring of manufacturing. And as has been mentioned, I stood with Governor Youngkin and Pascal Soriot as we broke ground yesterday in Charlottesville, Virginia, a massive $4 billion facility. That's the hard hat, Mr. President. I know you like construction, so that was all I could bring back. But there was a lot of remarkable energy. And here's what that event really does. It sends a signal. It sends a signal for all countries around the world to stop freeloading off American innovation. It's done. It's not going to happen anymore with this president. And if you aren't picking up your end of the bargain, then you're going to be welcoming a lot of more companies to leave your shores. And
all right, we can go back to this. But I want to update you on the situation with Atlanta Airport, where departures to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport are on hold and arrivals are holding or diverting due to the smell of gas. And if you look at this, oops, what am I going to show you here? We're going to show you, hold on, I'm going to show you, first of all, let me just do something real quick here. Do this. Hang on, if you can still hear me. Okay, I think that's what I want to do. All right, hold on. Let me show you this. Let me show you Flight Radar 24. Okay, so for example, this is a plane on Flight Radar 24 that was going from Chicago to Atlanta, and it seems to have made a circle. So I don't know if it's circling and going to just keep on going or what. This plane from Colorado Springs to Atlanta is just going in around and around and around. This plane, San Diego to Atlanta, well, that's still going. But that one's clearly just going around and around. This one made a circle. This one is diverting. Dallas to Atlanta, this is diverting. Maybe I'll change our headline for the moment. So, I think there's a ground stop. Isn't there technically a ground stop at the airport? Or is it not active? Did they end the event? Look, I'm looking at it looks like maybe it's not active anymore. Did they end the event? I don't see it on active anymore. I just had the active list. I don't see ATL there. So maybe it's over. What if I refresh this? Well, that advisory is still out, but this is the National Airspace System status. ATL was there before. So I wonder if they stopped the ground stop. But you can see on the advisory it says, comments strong gas smell. Ground stop comments strong gas smell. Oh, Flight Radar 24 said that they stopped it. One of our viewers said they posted about it. Flights in Atlanta are moving again. Okay, so it sounds like the event maybe has been dealt with. Flights in Atlanta are moving again, but this is going to take a long time to clear this evening, says Flight Radar 24. Anyways, so that's a little other news that happened to be going on. But again, things are clearing there. So there is this current event going on at the White House, which I'll show you the video of again, right now, where they're announcing a drug crisis agreement with the drug maker AstraZeneca. But a short while ago, President Trump posted on Truth Social that he is, as of November 1st, going to impose a new 100% tariff on everything coming from China. I don't know if Trump is going to be taking questions about other topics in this event, but he might talk about that here. But I figure we'll keep an eye on this. Maybe when Trump speaks, we'll go back. He might speak next. And when he speaks again, we'll go back and we'll listen to what he has to say. Okay? So in the meantime, I want to mention his post. When did he post this? About the 100% tariffs. I'm going to pull this up for you right now. He posted about an hour ago. This is a post from about an hour ago. So I'll keep an eye on this event. Again, when Trump starts speaking again, we'll go over to it. Here is what Trump posted on Truth Social about an hour ago. He said, "It has just been learned that China has taken an extraordinarily aggressive position on trade, sending an extremely hostile letter to the world, stating that they were going to, effective November 1st, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries, without exception, and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. Based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the USA and not for other nations who were similarly threatened, starting November 1st, 2025, or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China, over and above any tariff that they are currently paying. Also on November 1st, we will impose export controls on any and all critical software. It is impossible to believe, says Trump, that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Our viewer, Pretty Boy Floyd, says, people thought this was over after they kept doing 90-day pauses. Simply kicking the can down the road. So again, as of November 1st, if not sooner, and look, it could change. But as of right now, in 3 weeks, there's going to be a new 100% tariff on China, over and above any tariff they are currently paying. That's an additional 100%. So we're going to talk about this. Again, this was just posted about an hour ago. He had posted something threatening action on China early in the day, but this post with the new 100% tariff just came out about an hour ago. Now, maybe he'll address this. There's this White House drug price announcement event going on right now. And President Trump is there. Oh, let's see. I think he's about to speak again, maybe. So if I'm hoping maybe he takes questions and he'll talk about the tariff stuff. Let me turn the volume on. Somebody else is speaking now? Glenn Youngkin? Is Glenn Youngkin speaking? Is that right?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for celebrating this landmark moment. This landmark moment is not just a moment to announce a new way to buy less expensive life-saving medicine, but it is a step function change in the way that Virginians and Americans can access medicines. And it is a step function change because historically there was an opaque pricing mechanism that had so many people.
I haven't obviously been watching the whole announcement. They might be talking about this Trump RX website at this point too. I'm not sure if they're talking about that. That is Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin speaking. So I'm gonna keep this visible for the moment. I'm not going to focus on the drug announcement because we have other news I want to focus on more. But again, as soon as Trump starts speaking again, I will put him on. Okay. Stocks went down a bunch in the U.S. today because of the initial post by Trump. But the post about the new 100% tariff was after the markets closed. All right, so hang on a moment here. Hey, by the way, thanks to our moderators, we have Ruth Krafasi moderating, Janet B. is moderating. We haven't even talked about the horrible explosion in Tennessee, so we're going to talk about that as well. Janet B., Ruth Krafasi, thanks for moderating on YouTube. Also, thank you to our Twitch moderators. Give me a moment here. Yeah, how tall is Glenn Youngkin? One of our viewers said, Elijah said he is a giant. Looks like he's pretty tall. All right, give me a moment. Linda Belclary, Misha, moderate for us on X. Twitch is being a little fidgety now, so I'll thank the moderators there in a second. And also over on, over on Facebook, Thanks to our moderators there, Margaret Riley, Shannon Davis Hughes, Kay Lowry Body. I really appreciate it. All right, give me a moment. Oh, on Twitch, thank you to our moderators, 13 Alamos, Serrero, Matthew Kohai, 3 McBridges, and Surly Dev. And Glenn Youngkin is how high? So some of the sites say he is 6'2", but it looks like he's taller than Trump. But isn't Trump over? Trump is over 6 feet. So I'm confused. Isn't Trump like 6'3" or something? I don't know. I mean, a couple websites say Youngkin is. Hold on a second. Now there's another website say he is 6'5". One website says he is 6'5", Youngkin. So, anyways, I'm not sure. I'll let you guys argue about that. Some sites say that Youngkin is 6'5". Hold on. Maybe Trump is Trump going to speak now? Trump is speaking again. Hold on. I got to put the audio on. Hold on. Trump is speaking again.
$18 trillion in commitments and investments in our country. As an example, the last administration was far less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're at plus $18 trillion for 8 months. There's never been anything like it in history in any country, anywhere in the world. So that's great. But maybe for purposes of this, more importantly, we're going to bring drug prices down at numbers that nobody ever thought possible, Glenn. I think nobody ever even thought it was possible. So we're going to be doing a lot of business, but we're going to be also numbers that when you're 2, 3, 4, 500% less. I just noticed one of them over here, 654% discount. 654. The laggard is 98%, right? 9 is that what? Wow, 96, 230%, but 654, and we have some that top that by a lot. So it's really going to be incredible, and that's going to be so good for Medicaid and Medicare and everything. Frankly, for your life, it's going to be so good. So nobody ever thought they were going to see. And don't let Democrats take the credit, because, you know, they'll try. They'll say, oh, we worked so hard on it. They didn't work hard. They did. They obstructed. They actually did the opposite. So that's really more important than even the tremendous investments being made in our country. But think of it, we cracked 18 trillion with a T, trillion dollars. And frankly, 1 trillion for 4 years wasn't that bad. He did less than a trillion, but we did that in a period of 8 months. So it's pretty record-shattering by many trillions of dollars. Any country, no matter what country you're talking about, nobody's done numbers like that. So thank you all for being here. Do you want to have a couple of questions? Yeah, please.
Mr. President, one on this, if I could, and one on China, if I may. Okay. First on this, could you have brought these pharmaceutical companies to the table without that 100% tariff that you imposed?
No, it's not 100%. You're talking about China might be 100%.
No, I'm talking about the 100% you imposed on pharmaceuticals for that sector.
I would never have been able to bring them. Now, I'm not sure that Pascal would like to say, but behind the scenes he did say tariffs were a big reason he came here, and also the fact he loved Virginia. He liked this guy. He liked me. I think the November 5th election was a very important date. We had a good election, and that was important. But yeah, he's here. A lot of. I can speak for almost everybody that's here. Most of them are here because of tariffs, because you have to understand he has no tariffs. If you build in this country, there are no tariffs. So.
I want to ask you about China, if I could. Just want to confirm: have you canceled your meeting with President Xi? And
no, I haven't canceled, but I don't know that we're going to have it. But I'm going to be there regardless, so I would assume we might have it. But you know, they hit the world with something that really is not anything that people are going to do, and it was shocking. I can tell you, Howard and I and Todd, we all Scott, we were all speaking about it before. And we said, where did that come from? It was just, that was out of the blue, right? Out of the blue, they came up with this whole import-export concept. And nobody knew anything about it. So.
If they roll back their export controls, the new announcement, would you
Well,
roll
yeah,
back?
look, we're going to have to see what happens. That's why I made it November 1st. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Mr. President, the last time, Mr. President,
Go ahead, please.
what else besides software could be on the table in terms of export controls?
A lot more. I mean, you have software, but you have a lot more. We have airplanes. We have airplane parts. You remember that from last time. And we were just surprised at China. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and they did that. This is not something that I, instigated. This was just a response to something that they did. And they didn't really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world is subject to it. So I thought it was very, very bad. But we have many things, including a big thing is airplanes. They have a lot of Boeing planes, and they need parts and lots of things like that. Steve?
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to accept the Gaza deal, and what will be your message to the Knesset when you speak to them?
Well, he wanted it. It's been a long time. He's been fighting a long time. He's been fighting hard. He wanted it. It's a great deal for Israel, but it's a great deal for everybody, for Arabs, for Muslims, for everybody, for the world. And as you know, on Monday the hostages come back. They're getting them now. I mean, they're getting them now. They're in some pretty rough places under earth. They're in some pretty rough places where only a few people know where they are, in some cases. So they're getting them, and they're also getting the bodies, approximately 28 bodies. And some of those bodies are being unearthed right now as we speak. I mean, they're working on it right now as we speak. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. No, he was very happy with it. And I can tell you that I saw Israel dancing in the streets, but they were dancing in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and UAE and many, many countries. I saw Egypt. They were dancing. I'll be going to Israel. I'll be speaking at the Knesset, I think, early on. And then I'm also going to Egypt. They were terrific. But all of the countries were great. Indonesia was great. Jordan was great. They were all great. Everybody wants this deal to happen.
What happens in Gaza the day after the hostage release?
Day after what?
The day after the hostage release, what happens there then?
Well, hopefully you're going to have great success I call it everlasting success. I think you will too. I think you're going to have tremendous success, and Gaza is going to be rebuilt. And you have some very wealthy countries, as you know, over there, and it would take a small fraction of their wealth to do that. But and I think they want to do it. And we're also setting up, as you know, a board of peace. It's called the Board of Peace. I don't know if that's the final name, but the word peace is definitely in there. They have asked me if I chair it. We'll make sure things go well.
And how confident are you that the ceasefire will hold?
I think it'll hold, yeah. I think it'll hold. They're all tired of the fighting. Don't forget, you had October 7th, which was a horrible day, 1,200 people killed. But Hamas has lost 58,000 people. That's big retribution. That's big retribution. People understand that. So, no, I think they're all tired of fighting. And this really gives the whole Middle East, this is beyond Gaza. Gaza is very important, but this is beyond Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East, and it is a beautiful thing. It's a term that you and I have been hearing since we were very young, right? And now we have a chance of really having that. And as you know, most of the countries have passed all these resolutions. Every country is there. Iran came in. I was very happy to see that. I was very honored that Iran came in. They said they support it. Russia came in. President Putin, he supports it fully, very fully. So I was happy to see even countries that weren't necessarily involved in the process, they all support it. I don't know of anybody that does it. And I've never seen happier people than many of these places, not just Israel, many of these places. They're all dancing in the streets. I've never seen anything like it. Okay, go ahead, please, in the back.
Thank you. What guarantees did you give Hamas to persuade them that Israel will restart the bombing campaign once the hostages have been exchanged?
What did I do with respect to them? Well, I spoke a little bit tough, and that's what would happen. I mean, you have to speak tough. That's a tough world. That's a tough, as they say, neighborhood. And they're tough people. They're very tough people, and they're smart people. They're good negotiators. They have a things going. They put that to good use. They're going to be very, very successful. But they knew the retribution would be tremendous, unsustainable. It would have been unsustainable. It would have been complete obliteration, and they didn't want that. And nobody wants it at this point. They want to get on with rebuilding the entire Middle East. It's not only Gaza. It's going to be the entire Middle East. They're going to be able to live in peace. Now, we have some little hot spots, but they're very small. You know the ones I'm talking about. They're very small. They'll be very easy to put out. Those fires are going to be put out very quickly. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Talking about the Middle East still, going to the phases that come after this first phase, is there consensus on the additional points in your plan, or are the details still being fine-tuned?
I think there is consensus on most of it, and some of the details, like anything else, will be worked out, because you'll find out that when you're sitting in a beautiful room in Egypt, it's easy to work something out, but then sometimes it doesn't work from a practical standpoint. So certain little things, but for the most part, there's consensus, yes.
Do you intend to hash that out when you're in Egypt?
I might, yeah. I mean, I'll be there because I'll be going to, I'll go to Cairo. I think that's where we're going, as opposed to the place of the signing. And we have a lot of leaders from all over the world coming too. They've been invited. And then I'm coming back, I believe it's Tuesday night, for Charlie Kirk, a friend of mine, a friend of all of ours, a friend of a lot of the people right here. And we're giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor you get outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. One's military, one's civilian, but it's the greatest honor. And Erica's beautiful wife is going to be here, and a lot of people are going to be here. So, it's not easy for me to get back. It's a very quick trip, but I'll be making 2 major stops, and then I'll be on the plane trying to get back in time for Charlie. They're going to have a great celebration at the White House, in the East Room of the White House.
Mr. President. Russell Vogt said the reductions in force have begun related to this shutdown. How many layoffs have you authorized for this first round, and from which agencies?
And it will be Democrat-oriented, because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people, all because of the Democrats. I mean, they want to give $1.5 trillion to people that came into the country illegally. More important than that, because we all have a big heart. We want people to be taken care of, but we have 0 people coming in. You know that, Glenn, right? That's a pretty impressive number, even for a successful governor. But we've had, for the last 4 months, 0 people coming in illegally. They're coming in, but they're coming in legally. They're coming in through a process that's really a really good process right now, because we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. So what we're doing is, as these different groups come due, we're going to make a determination. Do we want them or not? And I must tell you, a lot of them happen to be Democrat-oriented. These are people that the Democrats wanted, that in many cases were not appropriate. We fought them at the time, and it was ultimately signed in. And some of these people, these are largely people that the Democrats want. Many of them will be fired. Yes, please, behind.
The Nobel Peace Prize was announced this morning. Your thoughts?
Which one?
The Nobel Peace Prize. Your thoughts?
Look, including a very big one, and I'm not sure, when you say big, it's certainly, I think, to the mind of most, the most important deal ever made in terms of peace. But the one we just signed, it's been signed, sealed, and it's going to start taking place now. It's already started. Monday's going to be a very big day when the hostages come back. But I made 8 deals, transactions of wars. One was 31 years going on. 10 million people were killed. One was 34 years. One was 36, 37. One was 10. One was just starting. 2 were just starting, actually, but they were well on their way. In the case of India and Pakistan, 7 planes were shot down. It was a bad one. And I did it largely through trade. I mean, that one, numerous of them. I talked tariffs. I said, look, if you're going to do that, we're going to put very big tariffs on your country. And they were both great. They stopped fighting, and they were 2 nuclear powers. So, they're all big. They're every one of them big. You take a look at the Congo. You take a look at the Congo and Rwanda. 10 million people killed over a long period of time. Got that one solved. We did a total of 8 as of this 2 days ago. I would have said 7, which I did say, but The other one was signed up, sealed. As you know, Israel signed it just now. They signed it and they approved it today, their parliament. And it's a great honor to be involved with so many. So the person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. That a very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me though. I think she might have. She was very nice, and I've been helping her along the way. They need a lot of help in Venezuela. It's a basic disaster. So, and you could also say it was given out for 24, and I was running for office in 24. All of the transactions that we did in terms of closing, but there are those that say we did so much that they should have done it, but I don't take. I'm happy because I saved millions of lives, many millions of lives. And speaking of somebody that saves lives, don't ever play golf with him because Keegan Bradley just walked in, one of the greatest golfers in the world, the captain of the Ryder Cup. And man, I'll tell you, you did a good job. You almost came back. I turned on. I said, I sort of turned off. It wasn't looking good. And then a little while later, I turned on. I said, you guys might make, that would have been the miracle. What a great job. He's respected by those golfers like nobody. And I just want to compliment you, Keegan. That was an incredible job. Right here, we have a lot of unfriendly fake news media. And he's not used to that. He's used to getting only good publicity, I think, Howard. These are all golfers. But you're some golfer, I'll tell you that, and some leader. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you, Keegan.
Mr. President, on China.
Yeah, please.
On immigration, ICE are making arrests, target arrests at courthouses in New York City and around the country.
Criminals, they're arresting criminals, that's right. Yeah, go ahead. I'm happy about it. I want them to arrest criminals. And if you take a look at D.C., a year ago, D.C. was our great capital was a very unsafe place. You know that. Some of you were mugged and talk openly about it. Some of the media was mugged. But right now, D.C. is one of the safest places in the whole country. The restaurants are booming. They're opening up new restaurants. The restaurants are all closing. Now you can't get into a restaurant. They're opening up new restaurants. It took 12 days for us. We sent in not politically correct military. We sent them in based on merit. We won the case in the Supreme Court. Everything now is based on merit. Our country was founded on things based on merit. Like Keegan Bradley's not going to be playing golf if he wasn't a great player. If he shoots lower scores, there's no more merit system than that one, Keegan, right? If you miss a putt, they don't say, oh, that's okay, let's take it again, do they? No, it's based on merit. Everything's based on merit. And we're back to the merit system. And when they saw that military is all about merit. They're big, strong people that they're patriots too. And you take a look at D.C. and now we're in Memphis, and Memphis was really crime-ridden. It was terrible. A lot of people being killed. And they say in 12 days they can't even believe how much better it is. And it'll take probably a month over there, and we're heading to Chicago because we want to save Chicago. Do you know they had over 4,000 people killed in Chicago over a short 4,000 people, and I have to watch this slob of a governor stand up and say that, well, everything's okay, we've got it under control. They had 4,000 people murdered over a very short period of time. There's not a city in the world, I don't believe, that can claim, you hear so much about different, I won't, embarrass anybody, like by saying Mexico City or by saying anywhere in Afghanistan. There's no place like that. And then I have to listen to the mayor who's got a 5% approval rate, maybe less. He's an incompetent man. And the governor's an incompetent guy. He's a guy that was thrown out of his family business like a dog. And I know his family very well. And now he's a governor. And when I watch him trying to say that it's okay, we have crime under control, I lost 4,000 people over a very short period of time. I believe it's like 7,000 people were shot but didn't die. But 4,000 people died. And then he gets up and talks about how it's not a problem. Or Portland, Oregon. I mean, every time I look at that place, the place is burning down. There's fires all over the place. When a store owner, there are very few of them left, but when a store owner rebuilds a store, they build it out of plywood, and they don't put up storefronts anymore. They just put wood up. because they know it's going to be ripped down. And then I hear how wonderful it is. It's not wonderful. It's a disaster. That's almost an insurrection, that place. So we put our people in there, and they do the job, and they've really done the job. And the beautiful thing is we've done it. 12 days we had this place safe, and now it's, I would say within a month, it was beautiful. And it continues to be. That was 3 months ago. I'll tell you, D.C. now is one of the hottest places, just like this country. We were a dead country, and you've heard me say it 100 times. We were a dead country. King of Saudi Arabia said it. Others say the Emir of Qatar said it. Many. UAE said it. The leader, great leader, UAE, all great leaders. They said effectively the same thing. 1 year ago, we had a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I just want to thank everybody, and I want to, in particular, thank AstraZeneca. What a great company you have. What a company you've built. You've been there a long time and done some job. It's an honor to have you. I assume you're going to build, so it's $4.5 billion for a plant. That's a pretty big plant, isn't it? I was going to say, could he make it a little bit more? Well, we have a couple of them where they're going to spend $65 billion on one plant, AI. All I know is it's, AI is based on information. I hope they're right about information. I don't know. You got to make a lot of money there's got to be a lot of information out there, but that seems to be pretty hot. But we have a lot. We're leading the world on information on AI, as you know, by a lot. It's not even close. So we're doing a job. And I want to thank everybody, but in particular, Pascal, thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Have a good time.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Let's go. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you, press.
I'm muted. Now I'm not muted. That was President Trump speaking. Let me fix the headline. Trump announces new 100% tariff on China. How did I have this before? Trump announces new 100% China tariff as of 11/1. That's what it was. Oops, it's not news tariff, it's new tariff. Okay, so we got to see Trump he talked about China a bit. He talked about the Nobel Prize. He talked about the Middle East. So let's talk about a couple of these stories here. I have a cough drop in my mouth, sorry. But let me first say a quick thank you to a couple people. Thanks so much to Mr. Blanks-a-lot for your support, CJ Lars, Angry Tacos, Jeff Buddington, Joe Brown, Indiana Jiggle Jess, Texas Blank House, Brian Rogers, JB, Ink Patriot, Jean-Paul LeChance for the gift membership. So nice of you. Crazy Yoda, Michael Avery, Sean C., and Sydney. Thank you. Also on Twitch, thanks so much to Douthis for the gift subs. That's really nice of you. Thanks White Wolf and Fen Beingold for subscribing. Okay. And I have an update about the tsunami threat from a 7.6 earthquake in the Drake Passage, which I just saw. So I'll tell you that in a second. We've had some different news to talk about. Let me show you the update. I just saw it right now. Hang on. One moment. One moment. There was a 7.6 earthquake in the Drake Passage, which is south of South America. And, if I have that right, yes. So they just came out with a new update about it, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, and what they said was They said hazardous tsunami waves are possible for coasts located within 1,000 kilometers of the earthquake epicenter. But they also said the tsunami forecast indicates no tsunami amplitudes above 0.3 meters, roughly 1 foot, for any coast. They do not think, if I'm reading that right, they do not think there will be any tsunami waves of more than roughly 1 foot, 0.3 meters, for any coast. Okay? So I'm just mentioning that. There was last night, I think it was a 7.4 in the Philippines. And there were some smaller tsunami waves. I think there was one like 0.6 feet high that were measured. So I just want to update you on this. Yeah, so what you can see here is USGS Drake Passage down there. South of South America, there was a 7.6. And see the blue dot on the screen? And then last night, can I find it here? Well, yes, yesterday, I forget exactly when. There was last night where I am, in Madrid, there was a 7.4 off the coast of the Philippines. Okay. Oh, thank you so much to Allison Hargroves, who says DC shopping and eating out while no paychecks and reduction in force letters. Sure. Thank you, Allison Hargroves. We'll talk about the layoffs shortly. We will talk about that. Sorry, I'm almost done with my cough drop. I still have a bit of a cold here. All right, so we have a couple stories I want to talk about, but we watched President Trump answer some questions. So first, I want to mention the tariff story. And it looks, so like stock markets were way down today in the US, and crypto has gone significantly down. And my guess is that's connected to the China thing. Hang on a moment here. Let me show you something about that. The deteriorating trade relationship with Trump and China today. And then we're gonna update you on the Tennessee explosion. Oh, thanks, Allison Hargroves. I appreciate that. It's really nice of you. Thank you. One of our viewers said, recovering a bit, but wow. That's what Chris N said. So you can see here, Trump threatens tech export limits new 100% tariff on Chinese imports starting November 1st or sooner, which would, AP says, potentially escalate tariff rates close to levels in April that fanned fears of a global recession. The president said on Truth Social he is imposing these new tariffs because of export controls placed on rare earth elements by China. The new tariffs built on an earlier post of his today on Truth Social, in which Trump said there seems to be no reason to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping as part of an upcoming trip to South Korea. But we just heard him say that he's probably going to end up meeting with him because he's going to be in South Korea anyway. Trump said, so here's about the markets. Trump said in his post, just before we came on the air, after the markets closed today in the U.S., starting November 1st or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the U.S. will impose a tariff of 100% on China, over and above any tariff they are currently paying. The announcement came after financial markets closed on Friday and risked throwing the global economy into turmoil. Not only could the global trade war instigated by Trump be rekindled, but import taxes being heaped upon the 30% already being levied on Chinese goods could, by the administration's past statements, cause trade to break down between the U.S. and China in ways that could cause growth worldwide to slump. While Trump's wording was definitive, says AP, he is also famously known for backing down from threats. Some investors began engaging in what the Financial Times called the taco trade, which stands for Trump always chickens out. What's the thing about the markets today? Hold on. Hang on. I want to show you something about the markets actually today. Here it is right here. So this was the trading day today. AP, Wall Street tumbles to its worst day since April after Trump threatens more tariffs on China. Now, the post about the 100% tariff came after the markets closed. But even before that, based on a post earlier in the day, the markets went down a lot. A months-long calm on Wall Street shattered today as U.S. stocks tumbled after President Trump threatened to crank tariffs much higher on China. The S&P 500 sank 2.7% in its worst day since April. The Dow dropped 1.9% and NASDAQ fell 3.6%. Stocks had been heading for a slight gain in the morning until Trump took to his social media platform and said he's considering a massive increase of tariffs on Chinese imports. He is upset at restrictions China has placed on exports of its rare earths, which are materials that are critical for the manufacturing of everything from consumer electronics to jet engines. Trump wrote on Truth Social this morning, "We have been contacted by other countries who are extremely angry at this great trade hostility which came out of nowhere." He also said now there seems to be no reason to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in South Korea. But again, it sounded like a few minutes ago like he's still planning on doing that. However, note this, AP says the market may have been primed for a slide. U.S. stocks were already facing criticism that their prices had shot too high following the S&P 500's nearly relentless 35% run from a low in April. That index is still near its all-time high set earlier in the week. Critics say the market looks too expensive, says AP, after prices rose much faster than corporate profits. Worries are particularly high about companies in the AI, artificial intelligence industry, where pessimists see echoes of the 2000 dot-com bubble that imploded. For stocks to look less expensive, either their prices need to fall or companies' profits need to rise. So, I don't know what's going to happen to stocks on Monday because, remember, Trump's post about the new 100% tariff as of November 1st on China happened after the markets closed. But I don't know, maybe investors will think, well, that's not going to actually happen. So I don't know what will happen with stocks. Let me read some of your comments here. One of our viewers, sorry, they're flying by here. Sketty Sandwich says, hang on, they're going too fast. The comments are going too fast. Sketty Sandwich says, expect a 20 to 30% correction sometime. Have a little cash on hand to buy the dip. That's what Sketty Sandwich says. Oh, our markets closed on Monday? Is that true? I didn't even know. I had no idea. I have to look this up. New York Stock Exchange. Is it Columbus Day? I'm looking it up right now. The New York Stock Exchange says, I'm looking at the New York Stock Exchange website with their holidays and trading hours. I do not see a holiday for October. I see Labor Day and Thanksgiving Day. What am I missing? FAC says the bond market is closed. Tommy says markets are open Monday. Well, I mean, again, I'm looking at the New York Stock Exchange site. It doesn't seem to be saying that the markets are closed on Monday. Oh, the Wall Street Journal says that the bond markets close on Monday. Stock markets in the U.S. are open on Monday. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. Hang on a moment here. One moment here. So maybe we'll do a poll question about that new tariff announcement. Oopsie. Here. Excuse me. You can see Reuters headline, investors react to Trump's massive increase in China tariffs. Ed Wiebe predicts a huge sell-off, our viewer Ed Wiebe. Our poll question, which I can't ask on Facebook yet because Facebook, I don't believe, has fixed their polls yet. So for now, YouTube and Twitch, sorry, Facebook. The poll question is, will Trump's 100% China tariff go into effect? I don't know if I can phrase that more succinctly, shortly, compactly. Will Trump's 100% China tariff go into effect? Or is it going to be like, will he just withdraw it at some point? All right. I just posted it on YouTube. Now I have to post it on Twitch. Give me a moment here. Give me a moment here. I'm posting it on Twitch. We'll see what you guys think. It's 3 weeks, unless he does it earlier. Hey, thanks to AZ Intel's dad. That's so nice of you. Thank you, AZ Intel's dad. Thanks, Elijah, for your support. Thank you, Allison Hargrove. She gave 10 gift memberships. So nice of you. Thanks, Allison. Make sure you thank Allison or anybody else who gave you gift memberships or a gift subscription, like Douthis did on Twitch. Okay, let's see what you guys said. I said, will Trump's new 100% tariff on China actually go into effect? So over on YouTube, the vote is, oopsie, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on, I gotta fix something here. That's all messed up. Okay, sorry. Let's try this again. On YouTube, the current vote is, on YouTube, 52% say no, and 48% say yes. How about on Twitch? What does Twitch think? So about half and half on YouTube. Twitch, do you think Trump's tariff on China, the 100%, will go into effect? On Twitch, it is 70% no. 73% no on Twitch, 23% yes. So a bunch of you are skeptical. Tiki Tony, our viewer, says yes, and it will collapse the economy more as planned. Clip E says stock market manipulation. Chill 23 says my crypto wallet got whacked. So crypto, a bunch of crypto is way down today. I'm assuming it's tied to this. So for example, thanks for voting in the poll, by the way. Hang on. I'm going to look it up right now, see what the current price is. So Bitcoin is down 6.5% in 24 hours. Bitcoin is trading below 114,000. And it was trading, I mean, it looks to me like within 24 hours ago. It's a little confusing with the hours here. Within the last day, it was above 122,000 Bitcoin, and now it's at 113.9 or so. And actually, when Trump initially put out, that was it was like a crazy drop. Is that true? I'm looking at a chart which showed that I think when Trump posted when Trump posted the China tariff post, the 100% post, it just rocketed downward briefly to, looks like it got down to about 10. Am I right about this? Did it get down to like 105 really fast? I'm looking at a chart from today, from a few hours ago, and there's this very steep V shape, but that's just on one site. So I don't know. But anyways, it's below 114,000 now, and earlier today, within the last day, it was above 122,000. Our viewer, Miami Vice Fanatic said it got down to 105 briefly. My Dog Sierra said 102. But that was quick. I didn't even see it when it was that low. Elon Levine says it got to 104. But again, that was very quick. Then it jumped back up. At least on the chart I'm looking at. So a volatile day for Bitcoin. Hey, thanks to Ed Weeby for the membership. That's really nice of you. Maybe more volatility to come. All right, hold on a second here. Oh, I have an article which talks about it getting below 105,000 Bitcoin. Now, currently Bitcoin is like roughly 114, but it briefly got way down. Look at this. This was an article from earlier. This was an article from like a half hour ago about something that happened a short while ago. Bitcoin extends decline to below 105,000. Now, again, it's back up to about 114. But Reuters said that Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency by market value, extended declines today after President Trump escalated his trade conflict with China. Trump said he was raising tariffs on Chinese exports by 100% and imposing export controls on any and all critical software in a reprisal to recently announced export limits by China on rare earth minerals critical to tech and other manufacturing. So at one point, Bitcoin was down to below 105,000, but it quickly came back up. Wow. I'm guessing I'm guessing it wasn't just a coincidence that happened. I'm guessing that moved the market, but I don't know. Anyways, so volatile crypto day. I want to get to the Tennessee explosion, but what I want to talk to first, what I just want to do, I want to get a little more background on the whole back and forth with China, if I can. Maybe I can grab something about that real quick. with the rare earth minerals. Hang on. Let me pull something up on that just to get you a little more background. Where am I looking here? Therapist Cafe says Bitcoin got into around 102,000 on Robinhood. Alex R says it was down to 102,000 earlier. All right, I have this. So here's some backstory to Trump's threats on China today. So this is an article from 2 days ago. But actually, it's Saturday where I am, but it's Friday for a lot of you guys. This is an article from Thursday. Oh, thanks to Ed Wiebe for the gift membership, by the way. China puts new limits on rare earths as Xi's meeting with Trump looms. So this is some background here. Okay? So this is from Thursday, the Washington Post. China announced sweeping new rare earth export controls on Thursday, tightening global access to critical raw materials required for computer chips and defense technology, and ratcheting up bilateral tensions in the run-up to a meeting later this month between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. A meeting that Trump today was threatening not to do, but it sounds like, at least when we last heard from Trump, he's planning on doing it. The new policies, which were unveiled by China's Ministry of Commerce and build on controls released in April, drive home how Beijing is using its influence over the rare earth supply chain as an important source of leverage as it manages a trade showdown with Trump, experts in Beijing and Washington say. One expert, Gracelyn Bhaskaran, said the new directive from China is a clear attempt to undermine the industrial-based development efforts of the United States and its allies. Xi is signaling a readiness to wield economic coercion as a tool to advance national security goals and bolster China's defense industrial base. China dominates global mining and processing of rare earths, a group of metals needed to manufacture a wide array of essential products like laptops, fighter jets, and medical equipment. In response to Trump's tariff onslaught starting this winter, Beijing put strict controls on the export of rare earths in April, but later it agreed to expedite the export process in June after negotiations. But now, as they said, China has announced sweeping new rare earth export controls as of Thursday. The new policies will require foreign entities exporting products, even with tiny amounts of certain rare earths originating in China, to apply for export licenses, as well as products manufactured using some Chinese rare earth processing technology. And some other details here. Okay. The Post says, ever since Washington and Beijing brokered a temporary truce in the damaging trade war in May to make room for negotiations, the two countries have flexed their power with non-tariff measures, including tit-for-tat export controls, agricultural boycotts, and antitrust investigations. Okay. The Post in this article also says Beijing's rare earth ace card may not last forever. After the April rare earth restrictions set off alarm across the private sector and U.S. government, Washington has raced to build up U.S. rare earth processing capability in places like Oklahoma. This expert said over the longer term, the rare earth restrictions may prove counterproductive for China's own strategic position. Rather than deepening global reliance on Chinese resources, it will likely accelerate efforts to diversify supply chains and reduce dependence on Chinese rare earths and related know-how. So that's some background. Those new Chinese limits on rare earths being announced Thursday. And then on Friday, Trump coming back and announcing what he says is going to be a new 100% tariff on China as of November 1st, plus export controls. Where's his post from earlier? We didn't look at this one yet. This is the one from this morning. Trump's post from earlier today. From this morning it was. I don't know if I want to read. I'll just skim through it. Some very strange things are happening in China. They are becoming very hostile and sending letters to countries throughout the world that they want to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths and virtually everything else they can think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Trump says it would clog the markets and make life difficult for virtually every country in the world, especially for China. Okay, just going down here. Trump says, I've always felt that they've been lying in wait, and now, as usual, I've been proving right. There is no way that China should be allowed to hold the world captive. He says, but the U.S. has monopoly positions also much stronger and more far-reaching than China's. I have, hold on. This thing, I'm trying to scroll it down just a little bit so you can see. He says, I have just not chosen to use them, and there was never a reason for me to do so until now. Let's see. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks in South Korea, but there now seems to be no reason to do so. Depending on what China says about the hostile order they have just put out, I will be forced as president of the U.S. to financially counter their move. For every element they have been able to monopolize, we have too. I never thought it would come to this, but perhaps, as with all things, the time has come. Ultimately, though potentially painful, it will be a very good thing in the end for the USA. One of the policies we are calculating at this moment is a massive increase on tariffs on Chinese products coming into the U.S. There are many other countermeasures that are likewise under consideration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then he followed that up later in the day, after the markets closed, by saying that the U.S. will impose a tariff of 100% on China, over and above any tariff they are currently paying on November 1st. And on November 1st, the U.S. will impose export controls on any and all critical software. That is a response to China doing things like restricting rare earths, exporting from China to other countries. And also, Trump said that China has said that on November 1st, they're going to impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some even not made by them. So are they going to make nice before November 1st? They're supposed to meet in 2 weeks, right? President Trump and Xi. So at the end of October, they're going to meet and kind of make a deal and settle everything. I don't know. Let me read some of what you thinks. Jim Econia says he will just chicken out. Maybe all of this is just bargaining before a deal. Our viewer Hamba says, sometimes you must slap a bad guy who tries to cheat you over and over again. Don't Fame Idiots says, China has a long-term plan, the U.S. doesn't. Waldo says, how is 100% tariffs good for Americans? So I don't know how the market's going to react to all this on Monday. We'll have to see. Orion P thinks we don't have any leverage against China. Chris N thinks the world will turn on China. Up North thinks a crash is incoming. Well, it certainly seems like there's a lot of there is instability now. There's uncertainty, right? For now, there's uncertainty because it's unclear if the U.S. and China will reach some agreement, or we'll get to November 1st and Trump will impose 100% tariffs on China. So we'll have to see. One of our viewers said prices are going to skyrocket. Crusader said that. All right, so we need to talk about, we have not even talked about the Tennessee explosion yet on this broadcast, so I want to talk about that. So we'll have to see what happens. By the way, one of our viewers, Stephen Elder, mentioned Trump coin. I saw a post about Trump coin. The official Trump coin, TRUMP, is down today a bunch. It was started around 7.5, it looks like, and now it went down to 4.5, and now it's 5.5. That's a big drop for a day. That's official Trump coin. Okay, now let's talk about the explosion. This explosion was terrible. Oh, we'll talk about, after the explosion, remind me, we'll talk about the government layoffs happening. That's happening today too. Smoogle says it's the golden age. Hey, let's thank our moderators first, and then we will talk about the Tennessee explosion. Thank you so much to our moderators, Beth Mythical and Ruth Krafasi. Really appreciate it over there on YouTube. This is one of these streams. Once in a while we do these streams where we talk about several stories at once. Not all that often, but once in a while there's a few things I wanted to talk about. So we're talking about several stories on this stream. Thank you also to our moderators. Where did I put everything? On Twitch, thank you to 13 Alamo, Big Ball of Yarn, Cerrero, LB Prairie Dawn, Matthew Kohai 3, McBritches, and Surly Dev. Thanks also Massachusetts Guy for the gift sub on Twitch. Linda Belk, Larry, Misha moderate for us on X. And thank you to Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Shannon Davis Hughes, thank you. Thanks, Chuck Mosca. Thanks, Chuck, for subscribing, and also for the Facebook stars, Chuck Mosca. And thanks, Kristen McConnell Gates. And also, thank you, Kristen McConnell Gates, for the Facebook stars and for subscribing. And Robert Rial II for subscribing. And Shannon Davis Hughes and Margaret Riley and Kay for subscribing. All of our Facebook subscribers. Oh, I do want to say something real quick. I saw some sad news today. One of our longtime viewers and a friend of mine and a friend of the channel, a friend of mine, a friend of a number of people who watch the channel, a friend of a number of moderators, Rick Hoppy sadly passed away. I'm sorry to bring news to people who knew Rick, that terrible news, but multiple friends of Rick posted online that he passed away. I was shocked. I was shocked to hear this. A number of us had not talked to Rick in several months, and so we were very concerned about him. But Rick was an awesome guy, and so I just want to pass my condolences. I don't think they're watching, but I just want to I want to share that news and pass my condolences on to Rick's family. If anybody is watching, I don't think they are, but it's just super sad. But I wanted to acknowledge that. Really terrible. Just a great guy, and again, knew him for years. Great animator. So very, very sad. Okay. So, but I did want to mention that. Terrible. Oh, also, I do want to say thanks to our moderators on X. We have people like Linda and Larry and Misha who moderate for us on X. Linda Belk. Hold on a second here. Okay, let's talk about the explosion. Now, it was a bit weird with the explosion. This explosion in Tennessee was terrible. It was at a explosives factory. And give me a moment. I'm going to pull. I have some photos I can show you. But the video situation today, there are 19 people missing and feared dead. That's the latest update. 19 people missing and feared dead. I'm going to change our headline too. 19. Now, today, let me get these pictures for you here. I'm going to pull some pictures up, not graphic pictures, but I do want to pull these up so I can show you. I didn't have, once in a while this happens, because of where it happened, I did not have the rights to use any of the video today from this incident, even the press conferences. Also, I couldn't even buy the rights to the press conferences. So I apologize that we couldn't show any of those during the day. It just, once in a while you get an event like this, a local event, where it's not up to me. So if I could have gotten the rights to some of the video today, we very well might have covered it earlier, but I just couldn't. It just wasn't available. So, but I do have some photos I can show you. But yeah, 19 people. All right, so let's talk about this. No, you cannot take a news organization's footage that they are paying to produce and use it for free on your broadcast by commenting on it. It does not work that way. Blast at a Tennessee explosive plant leaves 19 people missing and feared dead. Throughout the day, I've been hoping that that number would go down, that either they would find survivors or maybe, a lot of times they'll say people are missing, but they turn up. Maybe they left the scene and nobody realized that they left, and then they find them somewhere and they're fine. The number just hasn't gone down. It's still 19. A blast leveled an explosives plant today in rural Tennessee, leaving behind a mass of twisted metal, burned out shells of cars, and at least 19 people missing and feared dead. There's nothing to describe it's gone, said the Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis. The blast was at Accurate Energetic Systems. I got to change the headline here, sorry, to the news story. 19 missing, 19 feared dead, 19 missing and feared dead in Tennessee explosion. This was at Accurate Energetic Systems, which supplies and researches explosives for the military. The sheriff said it was one of the worst scenes he's ever seen, and especially gut-wrenching because he knows 3 families connected to the tragedy. He said multiple souls were killed, but declined to say how many, and he referred to the 19 missing as souls because officials were still speaking to family. Now, let me show you some pictures here. Now, these pictures are from WTVF. I'm going to put something on the screen that say photos from WTVF. There's a couple not from WTVF, but the ones of the scene are from photos from scene from WTVF. Hold on. Scene photos from WTVF via AP. Okay. Now that I have that, I can show them to you. Okay, let me show you these. It's just like utter destruction. I think that's a car right here. If I zoom in, yeah, see, that's a car right there. So I'm going to zoom out. There's a couple of these scene photos here. Yeah, I believe that's the building site right here, this next one. I'll show you on Google Maps what it looked like before. But, I mean, it's really crazy. And I don't know what happened. Oh, yeah, here's another one of a car. There's a number of cars that were just blown out. And is this all metal here? Yeah, it looks apocalyptic, said Flor Morena. There's a graphic from AP. You can see it says, blast at Accurate Energetic Systems Explosives Plant, southwest of Nashville. Because you can see Nashville on the map and Memphis on the map. In mid-Tennessee. It's a plant that makes explosives for the military. There's a shot of the front gate, a sign there, AES. Let me show you what it looked like, what it looks like on Google Maps. I have a map of it. So here is, on Google Maps here, oops. Here. That's the plant. That's it. But before it said that, before there was a graphic on Google Maps, it said like site of explosion or something. Let's see if I can get this again. So that's the site. Ooh, you know what I gotta do? I gotta do something real quick. Hold on. Just do something real quick here. One moment. Yes, I am still in Madrid, so the broadcast might look or sound a bit different than it normally does. I'll zoom in a second. I just got to position this correctly. It's not like a huge industrial complex. This is the before. This is not the after. This is the before. There's a building there. There's 2 buildings, looks like. It looks like to me. So with that in mind, right, if you go back to the AP photos from the article, like, there's that one, and then where's the one with the building? Yeah, this one here. See this? So I think that might be the shell of a building. I'm not sure. Was that not the right location? I think it was the right location. One of our viewers said it's not. Hold on a second. Maybe I didn't have the right location up. Let me double check this. Sorry, I might have made a mistake with the Google Maps location. So give me a moment here. Give me one moment. This was, I think my confusion might have been, I believe, hold on, that I saw, let me zoom out. Hang on. Give me one moment. Let me pull up the map again. I appreciate you guys mentioning this. Oh, I'm sorry. Here. Right here. Look. So there's where it says Accurate Energetic Systems LLC explosion. Right there. Is that what you guys are talking about right here? I'm sorry. I just messed up. There you go. Let's see what the chat says. Yeah, I got messed up. That's my fault. My fault. And it has the label on it. I saw a label before. Sorry, so I just messed up when I showed it. Thank you for the correction. Yeah, it's over the place I was looking at was over here. Technically, is this building actually not, I believe this might be in McEwen. And then this is not technically in McEwen, maybe? I'm not sure. Anyways, but you can see it's right there. So anyways, so is that building here, by the way, our viewer Opie's Home Shop thinks that they separate the buildings just in case of situations like this. Is that building there? This building here? Give me a moment. That one right there? Oopsie. You'll see it in a second. Right there. This? I don't see the parking lot in that shot. Top left? Is that the parking lot? I don't know. You can see the circle drive. It's a different angle. Let's look at this. Well, there's a circular road around it, but I don't think it matches up. I don't know. I'm confused. Maybe it's a different building. Oh, it's right here. That's the circle. It's right here. The cars, the building, and then the road that's curved this way in the cars. Is that what it is? Hold on. Is this like the road around it that's now just covered? Is that what it is? Like you can't... Because in this picture, The building has a road around it. Yeah, Kay Eliza says you can see the road pattern. So the idea is that that's the road that goes around the building. Okay, people are saying yes. Sorry, I was out today. I'm in Madrid, so I have not been following this closely all day, like I'm sure some of you have. So I appreciate you guys steering me the right way on the picture. So it's got the road around it, like a teardrop shape kind of, and it's got a parking lot, I guess. And then here, hold on, there's that, and then on Google Maps you have this, right? You'll see it in a second. Oh, I can probably turn the Google Maps one. Oh, let's just do it this way. Well, I should have done it this way before. So like this. Is that what you guys are saying? Like this? Something like that? I don't know. How about, I'm trying to match it up. Some of our viewers saying that's right. So if that's correct, there, if it's correct, I could probably zoom in a little more on this. If that's correct, oopsie, that's just another thing that's opening up. If that's correct, which a bunch of our viewers think it is, yeah, most of the building is just gone, right? Because look at the building there and there. Yeah, people are saying the road is filled with debris. You can even see the little path in the middle going to the parking lot on both. Oh, you mean this right here? You're saying you can see this here. That little path is on the map. Wow, that's crazy. One of our viewers, Harem, thinks the blast was so powerful it blew the pavement off the road. You know, that's an interesting question. Is the pavement not even there? Is the asphalt gone on the parking lot, or is it just covered in debris? I don't know. And then, as I mentioned, well, I don't know how well you can see it. There's a bunch of cars destroyed. You know, I guess when I heard about this, when I hear about things like this, it's so terrible. I mean, this is especially terrible because it's 19 people missing and feared dead. But people are saying to me they think the road is covered in debris and the parking lot's covered in debris. When you hear this, my thought on something like this is, okay, it's an explosives plant. So I would assume at the explosives plant, of course they know they are working with dangerous materials. So I would think that there are just built in all kinds of safety procedures to make sure this doesn't happen. So did something like very unexpected happen or something, right? Because I would just think that there's so many procedures to prevent it from happening. Posami says that's the question. Because it's not like they don't know they're working with dangerous stuff. So let me show you the article. This article is an update from AP. The blast occurred at around 7:45 a.m. Aerial footage showed the country's hilltop locations smoldering and smoky. Debris was scattered over at least a half-mile area, and people more than 15 miles away felt the explosion. The company's website says it produces explosives and ammunition at an 8-building facility that sprawls across wooded hills in the Bucksnort area, about 60 miles west of Nashville. It is not immediately known how many people worked at the plant or how many there were there when the explosion happened. Investigators are trying to determine what happened and could not say what caused the explosion. Emergency crews were initially unable to enter the plant because of continuing detonations. By Friday afternoon, there was no further risk of explosions and the scene was under control. Accurate Energetic Systems did not immediately respond to a phone message seeking comment. The company has been awarded numerous military contracts, largely by the U.S. Army and Navy, to supply different types of munitions and explosives. The products range from bulk explosives to landmines and small breaching charges, including C4. When the explosion occurred, residents in Lobelville, a 20-minute drive from the scene, said they felt their homes shake, and some people captured the loud boom of the explosion on their home cameras. Crazy. A state representative said, "We live probably 15 miles as the crow flies, and we absolutely heard it at our house. It sounded like something going through the roof of our house." Now, I was wondering, how does this rank among, deadliest workplace accidents? Now, AP says the U.S. has a long history of deadly incidents at workplaces, including the Monongah coal mine explosion that killed 362 men and boys in West Virginia in 1907. Several high-profile industrial accidents in the 1960s helped lead President Nixon to sign a law creating the Occupational Safety and Health Administration in the next year. In 2019, Accurate Energetic Systems faced several small fines from the U.S. Department of Labor for violations of policies meant to protect workers from exposure to hazardous chemicals, radiation, and other irritants. Let's see if I have any other pictures of this. Hold on a second here. Sign of the Times says the Google satellite view looks like the loop had crushed stone down like a quarter minus. You can see the contrast to pavement leading the facility and even the dust transfer. Again, the two pictures we had here were the Google Maps picture, the road around it in the parking lot, and then the AP picture, which is actually from WTVF. It SS thinks that 90 people worked there total. I haven't seen that. I also don't know the people who are missing and killed. Where were they? Were any of them not in that building or parking lot? Like in another building? I do not know. Evelyn in Maine said there was a doorbell footage 20 miles away that captured the noise. Ronald Lee thinks they were all inside. I don't know. I mean, the debris was, I guess, a half mile. And now one of our viewers, who said this? Nathaniel thinks it's possible they won't find everyone. Condolences and thoughts with the families of everybody who is dead and missing. It's really terrible. Hang on, let me pull up something else about it. Again, I do apologize. Normally I would have access to the actual press conferences, but it's kind of a strange event today with the access, so I don't. Hang on, let me show you something else. I don't remember in recent years an industrial accident with this many people dying. Did anybody look this up? I kind of want to look it up like the, I wonder if Wikipedia has a list. How many were found alive, says Ohio Friedel? I don't know. I mean, I just saw there's the Upper Big Branch mine disaster in 2010. This is one in 2010. The Upper Big Branch mine disaster in 2010 in Raleigh County, West Virginia. 29 of the 31 people were killed. That happened at a coal mine. That was a coal dust explosion. I didn't even know about that. So that's an example of a somewhat, 15 years ago, and even more people died. Rail yard thinks in this circumstance missing equals atomized, very unfortunate. Needs a kidney, remembers the Big Branch mine disaster. So Reuters says, they have an article too on this, blasted munitions plant leaves 19 missing, possibly dead. 19 people were missing and possibly dead after this devastating explosion at a military explosives plant. When asked to describe the building where the blast occurred, the Humphreys County Sheriff said, "There's nothing to describe, it's gone." FBI and ATF are at the scene. Aerial video on CNN showed what appeared to be the footprint of where a building once stood. In an adjacent parking lot, debris and what appeared to be ashes were scattered among a few parked vehicles. The Hickman County mayor told CNN the plant did not have a history of safety problems, although there was a small ammunition explosion there in 2014. Rich Scottardson says, I was at a facility in Loveland, Ohio that had an explosion. Feel so lucky after seeing this. The Washington Post says aerial footage shared by WTVF-TV showed one of the buildings appeared to have been demolished. Let me just check one of the local channels and see if they've posted any updates on this. Oh, hey guys, check this out. Metro Nashville PD says, at the request of the FBI, the Metro Nashville PD bomb squad has responded to McEwen, 60 miles west of Nashville, to assist in processing the scene of this morning's devastating explosion at Accurate Energetic Systems plant. Our viewer 664 Neighborhood of the Bee says it can't be no one's fault. I also don't want, so the explosion happened at around 7:45 a.m. Are they normally working there like, around the clock, or do they normally start super early there? Or was that before really the workday got underway? I don't know. Messi thinks an accident or sabotage. Bab says, I hope they didn't suffer. Allison Hargrove says, building was completely obliterated. I posted on my X account a screenshot of that did a markup of the building footprint. Thank you, Allison, and also Micah Cernkovich, who says, unfortunately, humans are fallible. Sometimes we did get complacent, and just one simple mistake can end in a complete catastrophe. Yeah, I'm not allowed. I actually reposted on my X account hours ago aerial footage. I just don't have the rights to show the aerial footage. There's helicopter footage of the area. I don't have the rights to it. Thank you, Lisa Sutz and Sven Shaper. Also in Jean-Paul Lechance. Thank you, Jean-Paul. And Rebel Ghost. And Gator Fitz and some Italian guy. Sorry I got behind here. And Esteban. And Ed Weeby. Esteban said that Maria Corina Machado dedicated the Nobel Peace Prize to President Trump. Esteban said, will the Nobel Committee take the award back? Well, I know what she posted, just to go back to that story for a second. Maria Corina Machado, the Venezuelan opposition leader who won the Nobel Peace Prize today. We were covering that early, that announcement live. She, I know she mentioned President Trump in one of her posts. So I wasn't on the call where she talked to Trump, but she did say this recognition of the struggle of all Venezuelans is a boost to conclude our task to conquer freedom. We are on the threshold of victory, and today more than ever, we count on President Trump, the people of the United States, the peoples of Latin America, and the democratic nations of the world as our principal allies to achieve freedom and democracy. I think President Trump said something when we were watching him speak at the White House. I think he said something like she told him she accepted it on his behalf or something. Something like that. But I haven't heard that from her. I don't know what they said to each other. I mean, again, I'm not on the call, so I don't know. He said something like that. You can go back and rewind and see. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that comment because I had missed it before. Look, I'm guessing the Venezuelan opposition would not mind if Trump and the U.S. military tried to get rid of Maduro. There was something I wanted to mention about that, too. Speaking of which. Yeah, what was this about? I saw this post today. Yeah, I didn't understand what this was about. So Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense / Secretary of War, he posted around 3 hours ago, and he said, at the president's direction, The Department of War is establishing a new counter-narcotics joint task force in the Southcom area of responsibility to crush the cartels, stop the poison, and keep America safe. The message is clear. If you traffic drugs toward our shores, we will stop you cold. I'm not sure what is this new thing being created that wasn't there before. Southcom includes U.S. military activities in Latin America and the Caribbean. So I'm not sure what practical difference that makes. PTG says so more boat vids soon. Rhino thinks it sounds good. I mean, there's this huge U.S. military presence off the coast of Venezuela now. Bonus fact thinks it means war. I mean, I don't know if this means like something bigger is coming. Or maybe it doesn't. See if I can find something about that. Oh, I have something. Reuters, I think, published something about this. So maybe they have a little insight on it. Where is it? Where is it here? Yes, right here. Here, look. U.S. military hikes operational command of counter-narcotics operations in Latin America. The Pentagon announced on Friday, we were just talking about this. The Pentagon announced on Friday it is establishing a new counter-narcotics joint task force overseeing operations in Latin America, a move aimed to strengthen already intensifying military operations that raised questions among legal experts. Defense Secretary Hegseth said the task force aimed to crush the cartels, stop the poison, and keep America safe. He said, the message is clear. If you traffic drugs towards our shores, we will stop you cold. So far, the missions have focused entirely on striking suspected drug boats in the waters of the Caribbean. The U.S. military has blown up at least 4 so far, killing 21 people. The U.S. military Southern Command, which oversees U.S. operations in Latin America, said the new task force would be led by, what is it? II Marine Expeditionary Force, a muscular unit capable of rapid overseas operations, which is based at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. Hold on. Did the Southern Command post something about this? I bet they did. I found it. Here it is. Look, Southern Command. New joint task force established to lead Southcom counter-narcotics operations. Okay. There's a new task force under, it says, 2 Marine Expeditionary Force, IIMEF. It will integrate the expeditionary capabilities of IIMEF with Joint Force and U.S. interagency partners. Key objectives of the new Joint Task Force include identifying narcotics trafficking patterns to intercept illegal shipments of narcotics before they reach the U.S. and partner nation territories, using intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft, expanding real-time intelligence, conducting joint training, and enhancing partner nation counter-narcotics operations. So it looks like this new Marine Expeditionary Force is joining the anti-drug forces. This is that Marine Expeditionary Force. On Wikipedia, it says it is a Marine Air-Ground Task Force. Oh, you know what? I have the wrong building in the thumbnail photo. I just realized that. One of our viewers mentioned that. I'm sorry about that. So this photo right here, I'm going to have to fix the thumbnail. I'll fix it after. So this thumbnail is wrong. We were showing the photo before. I made it right before I came on the air, and I had the wrong building. It's part of the complex, but that's the wrong building. So I apologize about that. But at this point, I'll have to I'm going to leave this up there. I'm not going to take the time to fix it right now because we've been on the stream for so long. But I'll fix it after the fact, the actual thumbnail for the video. So I apologize about this. Anyways, so I guess more forces are being added. So Reuters says it was unclear if the creation of the task force granted the U.S. troops in Latin America any additional authorities as President Trump mulls potentially striking suspected drug trafficking sites inside Venezuela. In a statement, the Marine Lieutenant General who leads the IIMEF force and will head the task force suggested the focus was still operations at sea. This is principally a maritime effort, he said. The attacks on the boats have alarmed Democratic lawmakers and raised questions among some legal experts who see Trump testing the limits of the law as he expands the scope of presidential power. The administration has not detailed what evidence it has against the vessels or individuals, has not said what type of munitions or platforms were used in the strikes, or even what quantity of drugs the vessels were allegedly carrying. Some former military lawyers say the legal explanations given by the Trump administration for killing suspected drug traffickers at sea instead of apprehending them failed to satisfy requirements under the law of war, which requires several criteria to be met before taking lethal action, including first using non-lethal means like firing warning shots. Anyways, so I have no idea if this announcement today by the U.S. military means something different is coming regarding U.S. military actions in Latin America, the Caribbean Sea, and so forth. I had no idea. Absolutely none. Of course, it's a big question. Will the U.S. start attacking alleged drug cartel targets inside Latin American countries like Venezuela or Mexico or some other country? Will the U.S. take military action against Venezuelan leader Maduro in the name of, because they accuse Maduro of being the head of cartels? Will they try to capture or remove Maduro from power in the name of fighting the drug war? We don't know. We do not know. That's a whole other thing to keep an eye out for. Bonus Fact says they were practicing taking oil platforms this week. Is this true? I don't know this. Oh, I missed a comment about, I wanted to mention this about the explosion. I still didn't change the headline talking about the explosion. We've been jumping around from story to story today, as we do when we do this kind of stream. Hang on. So I showed you this before. We talked about this blast. 19 people missing and feared dead in this blast at a Tennessee explosives plant today. And I showed you this picture from WTVF. And Allison Hargroves thinks that the black area in the images to the right is the scarring of the earth from the explosion. That's what Allison thinks. Blanks, the name says, I'm about an hour away from that place. It's crazy. All right, give me a moment here. Oh, we should mention the layoffs. Yeah, there's a Milo subdivision. I don't have the rights to the photo. Milo subdivision sent me a photo from Sky 5 helicopter, which showed just, it's like helicopter footage which shows just total devastation at the site. Again, I'm aware of the helicopter footage. I just don't have the rights to show it, unfortunately. Earlier, Jason Santoro sent me a comment that said, it's because China has Russia's back. I don't know if Jason meant that the China's rare earth restrictions were because China has Russia's back. Sorry, I didn't see that comment before. Yeah, Let's Go BTC sent me a post, which I think I've seen this before, of a looks like a security camera at somebody's house picking up the explosion. I don't have the rights to show that either, so I can't show that. I did want to mention these layoffs that are happening because of the ongoing government shutdown. This is another thing that's happening. You can see here, Budget Office says substantial firings of federal workers have started. The White House Budget Office said Friday that mass firings of federal workers have started in an attempt to exert more pressure on Democratic lawmakers. If I remember right, when President Trump was talking about this, in the Q&A we watched earlier, he said something like, a lot of them are people Democrats want. Anyways, AP reports, I reposted this post from Russ Vought earlier. Russ Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, said on X today that the reductions in force have begun, referring to reduction in force plans aimed at reducing the size of the federal government. The White House previewed that it would pursue the aggressive layoff tactic shortly before the government shutdown, telling all federal agencies to submit their reduction in force plans to the Budget Office for its review. It said reduction in force could apply for federal programs whose fundings would lapse in a government shutdown. It is otherwise not funded and is not consistent with the president's priorities. And then I just saw an AP report that said, where was it here? Sungmin Kim with AP says, White House Budget Office says in court that it could fire over 4,000 federal employees during shutdown. I'll see if I have any updates on that. Oh, yeah, I have that. I have this update right here, this AP update. Look, firings of federal workers begin as White House seeks to pressure Democrats and government shutdown. The White House Budget Office said Friday that mass firings of federal workers have started in an attempt by President Trump's administration to exert more pressure on Democratic lawmakers as the government shutdown dragged into a 10th day. In a court filing, the Budget Office said over 4,000 employees would be fired, though it noted that the funding situation was fluid and rapidly evolving. The firings would hit the hardest at the Departments of the Treasury, which would lose over 1,400 employees, Health and Human Services with a loss of over 1,100, and Housing and Urban Development set to lose over 400. The aggressive move by Trump's Budget Office goes far beyond what usually happens in a government shutdown and escalates an already politically toxic dynamic between the White House and Congress. Talks to end the shutdown are almost non-existent, says AP. I think Evelyn Main mentioned this point too. Typically, federal workers are furloughed but restored to their jobs once the shutdown ends, traditionally with back pay. Some 750,000 employees are expected to be furloughed during the shutdown. In comments to reporters in the Oval Office Friday night, which we heard, Trump said many people would be losing their jobs and that the firings would be focused on Democrat-oriented areas, though he didn't explain exactly what that meant. Trump said, we're going to make a determination, do we want a lot? And I must tell you, a lot of them happen to be Democrat-oriented. These are people that the Democrats wanted in many cases, that in many cases were not appropriate, he said of federal employees, eventually adding, many of them will be fired. Some leading Republicans were highly critical of the administration's actions. Maine Senator Susan Collins, Republican, said, I strongly oppose OMB Director Russ Vought's attempt to permanently lay off federal workers who've been furloughed due to a completely unnecessary government shutdown. Storm Laughter thinks every shutdown in the history of time has resulted with all pay and jobs restored. Thomas Darwin thinks Trump is using the shutdown as an excuse. B. Earhart thinks there will be a court order from some judge to stop it. Wall Street thinks the jobs numbers are bad and the shutdown stopped the payroll data from being released. There was data that didn't come out, I know. Here, hold on, I have something about this. You know, I'm sorry that we're talking about so many things. I think I'm just going to put up here latest updates on today's top stories, top stories from today. So, where is... I just saw a story about the data, economic data being delayed. If you give me 2 seconds here, I'll hopefully find it for you. Here it is. I have it right in front of me. The government isn't releasing economic data. Private firms are stepping in. With the government closed and official data collection on hold, economists on Wall Street and beyond are scrambling to find new sources of information, says the Washington Post, or any clues really as on what might be happening to the economy, in the economy. Without key federal figures, including data on job creation and inflation, it's become increasingly difficult to gauge the state of the economy. The Federal Reserve is in a particularly tough spot as it tries to suss out any slowdown in the job market and tariff-driven inflation so it can adjust interest rates accordingly at its meeting in late October. So the Fed is going to be meeting in late October deciding whether to adjust interest rates, and they might not have any of this recent government data. But I guess the article says some people are using private data. Oh, yeah, I posted case hit cards. Yeah, I did post that report that I saw earlier about John Bolton today, which was MSNBC was reporting that prosecutors are pursuing charges, federal prosecutors are pursuing charges against another Trump political enemy, John Bolton. Charges could be as early as next week, she reported. That's from MSNBC. Yeah. Oh, also, So MSNBC says criminal charges against John Bolton expected as early as next week. In recent years, Bolton has been a major critic of President Trump. MSNBC said that a grand jury has been hearing evidence related to claims that Bolton improperly kept classified national security information in his Maryland home. Dean R. says Bolton isn't above the law. So maybe we'll end up doing another stream where we cover more charges. I don't know if he'll be guilty of any of these charges if he gets charged. I don't know what the evidence is and how the trial would go. Who knows? There could be charges on somebody like Adam Schiff or something, as we talked about during the Letitia James stream. Remember when President Trump posted that message to Pam Bondi on Truth Social a few weeks ago. This is the screenshot via Aaron Blake. Aaron Blake posted this screenshot. But it's of the message, but it says, Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time. All talk, no action. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam, Shifty, Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. And then later in the post, Trump said, as we've discussed before, he said, we can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. President DJT. And now 2 of the 3 people he mentioned, Comey and Letitia James, have been indicted. So was Schiff next? That's another question. Jasmine Beatty thinks those were well-deserved indictments. All right, so we talked about the tariffs. We talked about the possible new tariffs from Trump. We talked about the explosion. William Field says, I have just seen from Fox News where National Guards have begun patrolling Memphis. I saw some report about that earlier today. If I can find it here real quick. Fox News, posted National Guard troops have begun patrolling Memphis. There's other reports from earlier today of National Guard seen in Memphis today. AP said earlier today, National Guard troops seen patrolling alongside local police in Memphis. Okay, is there any other big thing I wanted to talk about while we've been doing this kind of stream where we talk about a bunch of different things? Oh, I did want to check also, just to update you. For those wondering what the Bitcoin price is right now, it is about 113,300. Earlier Friday, it was, I believe, around 122,000. Actually, at one point, it got way down below 110,000. We talked about some of the layoffs starting to happen because of the in the middle of the shutdown. Oh, thank you, Gabriel Morrow. Gabriel wants a shutdown clock. I don't think we're going to do it on this stream, Gabriel, but you never know. Maybe on a future stream. Thank you, Gabriel Morrow. So also, Allison Hargrove says the reductions in force were given today were 60-day notice. If the government shutdown ends before 60 days, it is unknown how the administration will move forward with RIF. That's what Allison Hargrove said. I haven't seen that, Allison. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate it. And thanks for your support. Where is... Yeah, so the New York Times says the government must give workers 60 days notice before a layoff, but this can be reduced to 30 days in certain cases. And then Washington Post, in their article about the Trump administration beginning to lay off federal workers amid shutdown, said that RIF notices had been issued. The administration told a federal judge RIF notices have been issued to more than 4,100 workers. Employees will at least have at least 30 days, and many will have at least 60 days before any dismissals take effect. I don't know if there's like complicating factors to all this and all that stuff. I also don't know. I mean, the Trump administration had threatened large mass layoffs during the shutdown. I don't know if they lay off 4,100 people, not to minimize 4,100 people losing their jobs, but I don't know if that's what people had in mind when they were talking about mass layoffs. I don't like to hear about anybody losing their job, though. Sinful Clam says, federal employees are not trash. ATX Couch Potato said, didn't he say 100,000? I don't remember. Strong One says, Vought doesn't care, we'll fire them anyways. I do want to mention one other thing, which is that so President Trump, I mean, he said the hostages, I think he said the hostages were going to start getting released on Monday, President Trump said. So I'm assuming we'll be doing coverage of that. And also, in terms of, I don't know if we'll be doing any coverage of him, like, going to the Middle East before that. It's possible we will. Let's see here. Can I find... We should talk a little bit about that before we wrap up the Middle East. When is Trump going? I don't even know when he's going there. I don't know what day he's leaving. I don't even know if that's been announced. Let's see here. Anyone in the chat know? Hey, thanks Allison Hargrove for your support. She says leaked RIF letters all show 60 days. Sunday, people are saying Sunday, some people are saying. Art Deco says Sunday. Michelle Shelley says Sunday. Bab says he's leaving Sunday evening. That's not a very long trip. He says he's coming back Tuesday night, right? Yes. Jess Griffith says he'll be back on Tuesday. They're going to do a Charlie Kirk ceremony, I believe, back in the United States. Dwayne Donovan said Sunday morning. A bunch of our viewers are saying he's leaving Sunday. Oh, I have it right here. I actually have it right here. Sorry. Let me just show you this. So we might end up covering some of that too. I'll have to see how that all ends up playing out. He's supposed to address the Knesset, the Israeli parliament. Here. See, I had it right here. Trump says he will head to the Middle East on Sunday after Israel-Hamas hostage deal. President Trump said Thursday he plans to leave for the Middle East sometime on Sunday. I did want to mention this. Gazans trek to ruined homes as Israeli forces pull back under ceasefire. I'll show you this picture here. This is displaced Palestinians walking to return to northern Gaza after the ceasefire took effect. Let me show you this photo if I can. Actually, I'm going to download it and then show it to you. Here, look at this. This is displaced Gazans trekking. There was video of this too. To return to northern Gaza. I might have a video clip of this. I have a video here I can show you. Let me just show you this. I'll play it for you in a second. So Reuters says that thousands of displaced Palestinians trekked over the wastelands of Gaza to return to the ruins of their abandoned homes on Friday, after a ceasefire took effect and Israeli troops began pulling back under the first phase of agreement to end the war. A huge column of people filed on foot north along the coastal road overlooking sandy beaches toward Gaza City, the enclave's biggest urban area, which had been under attack just days ago. Thank God my house is still standing, said one Gazan, Ismail Zaida, but the place is destroyed, my neighbors' houses are destroyed, entire districts have gone. In the south, people picked their way through the dusty moonscape that was once Gaza's second largest city, Khan Yunis, which Israeli forces razed this year. Most walked in silence. It's crazy. A middle-aged man was pushing a bicycle with bundles of scrap timber tied to the front and back. His family would need the firewood to cook. It was all they had been able to recover from the ruins of their home. He said, "We went to our area. It was exterminated. We don't know where we will go after that. We couldn't get the furniture or clothes or anything, not even winter clothes. Nothing is left." Even as Gazans headed home, questions loomed about whether the ceasefire and hostage prisoner exchange deal between Israel and Hamas, the biggest step yet towards ending 2 years of war, would lead to a lasting peace under President Trump's 20-point plan to end the war. Trump says he's going to address Israel's parliament in Jerusalem. He said he would travel to Egypt, and other world leaders were expected to be present. Axios reported earlier that Trump plans to convene an international summit on Gaza while in Egypt. Maybe we'll cover that. This is interesting. The next phase of Trump's plan calls for an international body, the Board of Peace, to play a role in Gaza's post-war administration. The plan calls for Trump to lead it and includes former Prime Minister of Britain, Tony Blair. But in a potential challenge to this element of the plan, Hamas issued a statement late on Friday rejecting what it called any foreign guardianship, adding that governance of Gaza was purely an internal Palestinian matter. As the day wore on and it became clear Israeli troops were no longer blocking the roads into cities, an initial trickle turned into a flood of Palestinians from makeshift tented camps going to the homes they had left behind. One Gazan said, "Of course there are no homes, they've been destroyed, but we are happy just to return to where our homes were. Even over the rubble, that too is a great joy. For 2 years we've been suffering, displaced from place to place." Wow. Just a reminder, as Reuters says, the accord, if fully implemented, would bring the two sides closer than any previous effort to halt the war. Much could still go wrong. Further steps in Trump's 20-point plan have yet to be agreed. Those include how the demolished Gaza Strip is to be ruled when fighting ends, and the ultimate fate of Hamas, which has rejected Israel's demands that it disarm. Let me show you, I have a video here from this article from Reuters, which is about this. So let me show you this video here. I'm going to play it right now. Here is a video about, I think it's about Gazans trekking to their homes, their ruined homes. Oh, I have video. Look, I actually have video of them trekking. Wow, that's crazy. It's quite something. Let me put this on the screen for you guys. Oops, I'll put it on the screen for you right now. Why does that keep messing up? Let's try this again. Here it is. See the video right there? This is from Reuters. I'm going to play it for you. I might have to adjust the audio so it's in stereo, not mono. We hearing it?
Friday, under a ceasefire deal with
let
Hamas,
me fix the audio.
Thousands of Palestinians began moving north.
Let me fix the audio. I'll fix the audio for you. And we'll watch that. I just fixed it. Okay, here we go. Here is the video, including the video of people streaming back to where they originally were in Gaza before being displaced by the war. Look at that.
Israeli forces pulled out from the road to Gaza City on Friday under a ceasefire deal with Hamas. Thousands of Palestinians began moving north towards the city, under Israeli assault for the past month. But residents said gunfire nearby made many reluctant to carry on, amid some confusion about when fighting would stop. In Gaza City, Palestinians searched for what remained of their homes. Fida Haraz, like many, found only ruin.
I'm walking in the streets, but with the extent of destruction, I don't know where the crossroads is or my home is. I know it was levelled, but where is it? I cannot find it. What is this? What do we do with our lives? Where should we live? A house with multiple floors and nothing left?
Israel's government ratified the ceasefire with Hamas in the early morning, clearing the way to suspend hostilities within 24 hours, though plumes of smoke still rose. Hamas is to free Israeli hostages held in Gaza within 72 hours under the first phase of US President Donald Trump's initiative. Jewish prayers were held in Tel Aviv's Hostage Square. 20 Israeli hostages are still believed to be alive in Gaza, while 26 are presumed dead and the fate of 2 is unknown. Vered Swede has been volunteering with the hostages' families.
Today we feel the hope, and I think every house in Israel know the names of the hostages, know their stories, know their families, and we feel they are like our children.
Trump said he'd be heading to the region in anticipation of their release.
I'll probably be there. I hope to be there, and we're planning on leaving sometime Sunday.
His plan leaves many questions unanswered as yet, including whether Hamas will disarm and how the demolished Gaza Strip will be governed. The war has tested the US-Israeli relationship, with Trump seeming to lose patience with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and pressure him to reach a deal. And it has deepened the international isolation of Israel, accused of genocide by a UN commission and human rights experts. As soon as the agreement is in place, trucks carrying food and medical aid will surge in to help civilians stricken by hunger and, in some areas, famine. Medics said bodies from earlier strikes were being recovered, as rescuers reached previously inaccessible parts of Gaza City. More than 67,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's assault on Gaza, launched after the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed and 251 taken hostage.
Israeli
Israeli
videos
forces pulled out from the road to Gaza City on Friday under a ceasefire deal with Hamas.
The videos of, like, again, it's not necessarily new, But every time you see these images, at least every time I see the images of Gaza and all the destruction, it's just crazy. I mean, it's just look at these pictures. You know? Just going to play some of this without sound again. I mean, look at this. Watch, you'll see this. One of our viewers said, my mind space says, it looks like the Terminator. Decades of rebuilding says, harmless mouse. Total devastation, says one of our, says T-Wiki. I mean, it just look, you know, even the buildings that are standing are basically blown out. Us 3v3 no says, so sad. Zelgeth says a lot of it will need to be torn down to rebuild either way. I mean, look at this. And these are just pictures. I'm guessing if you were actually walking through there, it would just be like unbelievable. Well, that's a whole thing. That's not part of the rebuilding is not part of the current deal. That remains to be seen in the future, what happens with the whole rebuilding. And as I believe an article in The Economist said recently, countries are not going to want to spend money on rebuilding unless they think that there's not going to be any more fighting there. If you don't want to spend lots of money I mean huge sums of money rebuilding Gaza if you just think there's going to be more fighting. Look at this. So Jim Colbert thinks it'll take 20 years to fix. But just demolishing what needs to be demolished is a huge project, and getting that out of there. But I don't think, and no one's going to want to build anything right now because it's not even clear that the fighting has stopped. Anyways, I mean, so this is just one video. There's plenty of other photos and videos, but it's just crazy to see. Caps Block says there's no more rocket fire from Gaza. Well, we'll just, as of like a week ago, there was still fighting going on. So MacV says they've only agreed to phase 1. Look at this, Rights and Freedom says insurance rates would be high. Ed B says, I feel like someone will break the ceasefire deal. I mean, this is just one video. I'm just showing you some of these screen grabs from just one video. OCCD says they have to clear all the explosives and unexploded ordnance. One of our viewers said that thanks to I Am Charlie thinks there might be booby traps in buildings. So this is, I mean, I have no idea, like, how long in the future are we talking about for Gaza to be rebuilt in some sense? I mean, who knows at this point? That just assumes the fighting stops. Well, decades thinks doubt this. Anyways, so that's going to be a story we're following in the coming weeks too. Neo Geo Zach thinks never, perhaps. Well, it's not going to be rebuilt unless, again, the people funding it are sure that there's not going to be more fighting anytime soon. Who is going to pay for it, says Pamela O'Connor. Well, we'll see. I mean, supposedly some of the other Arab countries might pay for it, but, well, nothing's been agreed to yet. That is all to be done in the future. Okay, guys, I think we might be at that time. This was one of these streams where we talk about a bunch of different stories. So we covered a bunch of stories a bit on this stream. News Roundup. But I do anticipate doing coverage when Trump is in the Middle East and also of the hostage return. I don't know exactly when all that's going to take place, but that is something looking toward. And who knows, if other stuff happens this weekend, we'll certainly come on and cover it. But I appreciate you guys coming to join me for this News Roundup stream. And I need to fix, I really apologize about this. This was a bad mistake. So I have to fix this thumbnail, but it will be in the, I want to fix it on the video thumbnail, but unfortunately there's no way to fix this. So I'm sorry that the building, it was the right area, it's the right installation. It's the company has several buildings. It's just the wrong building. So that's my bad. Anyways, let's hope the fighting has stopped there for a long time, but we'll have to just see what happens. But I appreciate you joining. If you want, subscribe, follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda, Agenda Free TV. And I would suggest turning the notifications on for the channel because I never know when some big news is going to happen. Never know we're going to pop on the air and have to cover news that's breaking. But you can sign up for free notifications and get a message sent to you every time we're going live. They work really well. It's our Discord notifications. The mods will post the link to the free notifications. You can also find that link on YouTube and Facebook in the descriptions of this video. And also, I will post updates on my X account about breaking news. That is at Lookner on X. You can follow me over there if you're on X. And we will keep covering news for you. I'm in Madrid for a little while longer. It is 2:30 a.m. here. My schedule is incredibly messed up. I'm sort of keeping a U.S. time schedule here because of the news. But it's all everything's, I don't even know what time it is here anymore, honestly. It's crazy. But anyways, so thank you for watching, and also thanks to all of our moderators. I really appreciate all of our moderators being here. You guys are awesome. I think I forgot to thank a couple people on, I owe a couple thank yous on Twitch, by the way. After I thank the moderators, I'm late on thanking a couple people over on Twitch. I'll thank you guys in a second. Sorry about that. I just noticed that. But thanks to all of our moderators. They are the reason that we can have our chat rooms and have people of different views sharing views with each other and being civil and respectful. I also appreciate everybody who sent in updates to me, and also people who were able to help with the geolocation of the explosion picture and stuff. That was very helpful. Thank you. Hey, thanks to Ruth Krafasi and Beth Mythical for moderating over there on YouTube. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. All of our YouTube moderators on Twitch, 13 Alamo, Cerrero, LB Prairie Dawn, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah, Riff Track, Surly Dev, and all of our other Twitch mods. Thank you so much. Linda Bell, Glary, and Misha, thank you. And our Facebook moderators, people like Hang on a moment. K. Lowry Body, Paul Anderson. Shannon Davis Hughes, Margaret Riley. Thanks to all of our moderators. Really appreciate all of our moderators. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who donated too. That's super nice of you guys. That is how the channel can be on the air, your support. So thank you. I got behind on the Twitch thank yous. That's my fault. Fish Like It's 1999. Thanks so much for your support. Fish Like It's 1999. CC143 on Twitch. Gonzalez. Thank you, Gonzalez. You know, Gonzalez asked any footage of the explosion. I actually have not seen actual footage of the Tennessee explosion. Maybe it exists. I've certainly seen helicopter footage, which I couldn't show you, of the aftermath. I have not today seen footage of the actual explosion. Did you guys see any of it? Because I have not seen it. It's a good question. Thank you, Gonzalez. Thank you, Shadow Elf 85 and Jim Aconius on Twitch as well. And also Allison Hargroves and everybody else I thanked earlier over on YouTube. And also I Am Charlie. Thanks for your support. I Am Charlie says Gaza's reconstruction is by the Egyptian-led Arab plan? Is that a proposal? I mean, I don't believe there's been an agreement. There hasn't been an agreement. I Am Charlie talks about there being competing plans. So we'll have to see. I mean, it's such an enormous project, and I hope it doesn't take that long, but it just seems like it's going to take a really long time. So we'll just have to see. So maybe there'll be some kind of interim plan for all the people who are there, the 2 million people who are there whose territory is largely destroyed now. Let's see here. Thank you to... so thanks to our mods. Another way to find out when we're going live, if you're on X, is Agenda Free TV on X. I always post there when we're going live to give you a heads up. I post updates about the channel at Agenda Free TV. If you're on X, follow over there. Also, you can chat with other viewers. You can chat with other viewers in our Discord chat. It is free. A lot of our viewers like doing that. It's the same link as the free notifications link. You can use the same link to check out our Discord chat. Check it out. And thanks so much to our Discord moderators for all you do as well. And for those who watch on YouTube, I would suggest turning on the YouTube notifications, which can be helpful for finding out when we're live. It's a little tricky how to do that on YouTube. If you want to turn on the YouTube notifications, what you need to do is subscribe to the channel and then click this bell and then choose all notifications. If you are already subscribed, make sure you click the bell and choose all notifications so you're getting all the notifications. Okay. And I do want to thank also all of our subscribers over there on Twitch who support the channel, such as Wall Street and Shaggy, Aaron Weirdo, Sandy Doggo, CC, ZZGGYY, Gonzalez, Douthis, Matthew Kohai 3, Jax Haku, and all of our other Twitch subscribers. Thank you so much. And our Facebook subscribers like Robert Rial II and Chuck Mosca, Sharon Klassen Goslin, Jennifer Ellers, and Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body, Shannon Davis Hughes. Did I say Sharon Klassen Goslin? And all of our other Facebook subscribers, thanks so much for supporting over there. And our YouTube members like Pat W., Dr. McRib, Babs, Crypto King, J.K. Cinar, CAC 813, And Red Girl, thanks for being members. Jean Paul, a chance, thanks for the memberships again, Jean Paul, much appreciated. Evelyn in Maine, 21. JK Cinar and Crypto King, some Italian guy. Thanks for being YouTube members. Evelyn in Maine, did I say? Benjella X Life. Babs, I Am Charlie. Specific Gravity, The Dancing Dragon, Dean R. Sharon Pet Lover, Sean C. Thanks for all your support. I Am Charlie. I appreciate that. Zarina77, David E. Pat W. CCD, Dean R. Planet Wiz, Hassel DeHoff. Thank you all of our members. Sydney, Chris N. Cybertruck, John Smith, Matthew Felty. Thanks, Kasten Rose for watching. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be doing some more streams from Madrid on my personal channel, which is Lookner on YouTube and Looknerd on Twitch. We will certainly be doing some more streams from here. Thanks, check it out for watching. We didn't talk about the Qatar story. Maybe on another stream. That was a story which Pete Hegseth actually posted about. He said, the U.S. military has a long-standing partnership with Qatar, including today's announced cooperation with F-15QA aircraft. However, to be clear, Qatar will not have their own base in the U.S. nor anything like a base. We control the existing base, like we do with all partners. You can see here, this article from Reuters says, far-right activist Laura Loomer slammed President Trump's administration on Friday over its deepening defense ties with Qatar and made false accusations, says Reuters, that spread on social media that the Pentagon was giving it a military base on U.S. soil. Pete Hegseth announced that Qatar would pay for a facility at a U.S. air base in Idaho. He did not say the U.S. would give Qatar the base or any base in the United States. The facility, which has been in discussions for years, would support Qatar's plans to train pilots on 12 F-15 fighter jets, which the country is buying, and would be located there. So the Secretary of Defense says it's not going to be a Qatar base. Qatar's embassy also denied there would be a Qatari air base in the U.S. That's from Reuters, that article. Anyways, we didn't talk about that before, but thanks for mentioning it. It's the same thing. Well, I think you can understand the difference between a base which belongs, I mean, the U.S. has bases in other countries where the U.S. controls the base. Apparently, that's not going to be the situation with Qatar. Anyways, we didn't really get into that. So, sorry we didn't really get into that. We mentioned it. Maybe on a future broadcast we'll talk about it more. Thanks. Anyways, I was just saying good night, but thanks for mentioning for that story. Thanks, Ben Bruce, for watching. Thank you to Paisley Manatee. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Holistic and Harmless Mouse, and Oos 3v3 New. And Thanks, Gwendolyn Jones, for the Facebook stars. It's very nice of you, Gwendolyn Jones. Thank you. Gwendolyn, I would reach out to YouTube for that. I don't control the YouTube subscriptions or the memberships. If you can't comment on YouTube, you should write to the moderators. aftvmods@gmail.com is the YouTube moderator's email address. Write to them there, aftvmods@gmail.com, about that. Thanks, Paula Thompson, for watching. Thanks, LT, for being a subscriber on Facebook, and Jennifer Ellers. Thanks, Dasha Morgan, for watching. Thank you, Chris B. Nauta, who says BBC website shows parking lot full of dirt. I wonder if Chris is behind in the video watching the part where we're talking about the explosion. I don't know, but thank you, Chris B. Nauta. I really appreciate it. All right, guys, so we are wrapping this up. I really appreciate you guys being with me for this news roundup stream where we jump around to a bunch of different stories. Thanks for bearing with me as I kept changing topics. So that is it for now. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.